How's it going, everyone? Here we're going to take a look at the Disney's Twisted Wonderland Nendoroid of the character Kalim Al-Asim, or Kalim Al-Asim, or his Japanese name Kareem Al-Ajimu. I don't know too much about Twisted Wonderland once again because it's a Japanese only game. Maybe one day we'll see a release of that game, but there is a Disney anime coming out for Disney Plus in Japan at least, and we'll probably be able to get some subtitles, if unofficially at least, somehow, somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that. But otherwise, let's have a look at this particular Nendoroid character. I have covered a couple of other Disney Twisted Wonderland characters in Nendoroid form as well. I'm very, very, very interested in them because they look very cool as characters. I haven't covered every single Nendoroid, but so far I've covered the majority that have come out so far. So have a look at those if you haven't already. But let's have a look at this guy first. But this is an Aniplex exclusive once again, just like the previous Twisted Wonderland Nendoroid. So it does come with this little pin badge here of the character in its chibi form or super deformed form here. So all the kind of character features are there. So his head wrap and then a little kind of tattoo or markings down on his arm can be seen there. Very simple badge otherwise, like so, but pretty much the same thing, but and consistent sort of artwork as the previous Nendoroid figures as well. So again, you get that by buying this from Aniplex because that's the only place you can actually get this from. If you're in the US or Europe or outside of Japan, basically, you will have to import this from somewhere, somehow, like I did. I used CD Japan actually as a proxy service for this particular one. Sometimes I do use Nin Games. So I'll try and leave some links in the description below if some places have them in stock. But do check because they will keep coming in and out of stock throughout time. So let's get through the packaging first and then we'll go through the figure. So window display box showing you the figure itself. Really nice. So he comes with a staff, optional part arms, and then some faceplates hidden down below here. He's number 1566 in as far as Nendoroid series goes. So it's a long-running Nendoroid figure series now at this point from different characters of different IPs. So really cool stuff. If you haven't seen stuff already and this is your first Nendoroid video, well, you're in for a treat as far as these figures go. You've got some pictures of the character here in different portraits and then the backside of him. Actually, there's lots of detail you can see right here of this character. That's very cool to see. Got some more pictures of the character on the reverse side. Once more again on this side here, we comes with, oh okay, this is just going to be a 2D sheet, which I don't particularly like, but he comes with that anyway. More on the top and then one more down at the bottom here. But let's get this open and see what the figure is all about. So here's the figure and the option parts. I'm going to go through the option parts first and then we'll go into the figure. Now it does come with the stand as usual. This figure doesn't really balance so well without the stand, so I've already attached it to the base stand. You get this 2D kind of display piece with the magic carpet here on just a plastic see-through bit. You do have to take off this kind of sheet of plastic wrap here. It's clear so you don't get that fogginess back there, but I'm going to leave it on here. Then you get the base for that as well. So all you got to do is slip it in like so and then have it in the background. So if you saw my Nendoroid Riku video, he came with something like that with Mickey Mouse on it. I'm not a huge fan of this, but because he comes with 2 optional faces and a couple of other bits, this is actually not too bad. It's a nice thing to have, but not the main thing of this particular figure. So looking at the 2 additional faces that this figure comes with, so you've got one with one eye closed with a wink, and then the other one with both eyes closed, and both of them feature a really nice big grin on them. Actually, with this figure face here on the right, you can see there's a little bit of a sharp tooth there, whereas this one is a little bit more clear and it's all kind of flat. But either way, really nice expressions going on with both faces. I have to say, the eyes on this particular character are gorgeous, really beautiful, fiery eyes. Absolutely love them. And you've got the kind of makeup effect going around the eyelids as well, the eyeshadow, and his eyebrows as well in kind of a dark grayish kind of color to just be a little bit darker than his main hair. The earrings, by the way, are on little pegs like so. So I'll take these off. There you can see it's really tiny pegs. They probably will come off when you're changing the faces or just kind of playing around with the figure. So try not to lose those little bits. Every face, they're all on pegs on both ears, including the default face there. So yeah, again, try not to lose those because they are quite small. But otherwise, these 2 additional faces, really gorgeous looking faces. But the face already attached to him is super gorgeous as well, which we'll get into in just a moment. So for limbs, Ka-leem does come with a few different alternatives. You can mix and match the hands attached on the various left or right arms themselves. So he comes with one fist that's not attached to an arm directly. So you can, again, attach this to the other arms if you want to. So just a right fist here. You can kind of see the little bangle or a little bit of his accessories on some of the fists here. So this one does have it, or some of the hands. Then you got the right arm and left arm here. So this one on the right arm is a bit more of an arrogant thumb pointing position, and this will have a 90-degree bend at the elbow. And then similar for the left arm here, but this one has the little markings that he has that you can see there in white on his bicep. And this one, he's holding some gold coins. So you can mix and match these. You can just take these off like so, and then attach a different hand to it if you want to. Then the other left and right arm that it comes with. So this one is going to be used to hold the staff. This cut here at the shoulder is a little bit more wider, so it kind of allows him to hold it at this angle pretty much. And then you've got the hand that's already attached to this, which is going to allow him to hold his staff as well. Again, just take off the hand and use a different arm if you really want to. Similarly, you've got another bend at the left arm, again with the white markings around his bicep there. And then this one comes with the left fist as well. And you can see the ring on his finger going down there. And then the kind of chainmail looking gold on the back side of his hand. Again, take those off if you want to. So it's cool to see that the gold part doesn't just end at his wrist. It does continue to the hands as well. And they've kind of added that where they can on the other, or each hand in particular. He comes with one additional left leg as well, which is just bent like so. You can see his sandal there with some gold trimmings on there. And then he's got the fiery pants. Pretty hot stuff right there. All you got to do is swap out the left leg. There is no ball joint on this particular piece. It just kind of has him like this pretty much. I'm not a huge fan of this leg. I guess there's a character moment, that's why he has that, but you know, they've included it anyway. Finally, then he comes with his staff. So this staff is pretty cool. Let's try and get that focused in. You can see the top of it has a bit of a snake theme going on with the jewel on the head of that, and then the stars around the top bit of the staff itself. So it's sculpted pretty nicely. Otherwise it's painted pretty simply as well. So just really basic orange stars on it. Reminds me of the Dragon Balls. And then you've got the gold snake wrapping around down it a bit, and it kind of ends right there. And then the rest is just going to be tapering off into a thin red staff pretty much. His hand to grip this staff isn't the sturdiest or strongest. It doesn't form the greatest of grips, so it does fall off a little bit, but we'll still show you that later on in this video anyway. So that brings us to the actual figure itself. Now, like I mentioned earlier on, I have already attached it to the base stand because Ka-leem doesn't stand so great on its own. Most of these Nendoroids, or this type of Nendoroid, they have teeny weeny feet, so they really need assistance to stand. By the way, you do get an extra spare neck joint, which I'm going to put to the side if you need to use that. But as I was saying, they don't stand so great on their own, so pretty much most poses, or you're pretty much going to want to use this base stand, or maybe use some blue tack or something, but I advise using the base stand included. I'm going to take it off though from the back, and I can feel his arm has actually fallen off. So as we go through the figure, I will just say I may probably experience a lot of bits, or some bits of this figure kind of falling off. So for example, this feather piece here will fall off. His earrings might fall off, as I mentioned earlier on, and his arms may also fall off. That's kind of normal for this figure. It's a little bit frustrating, but you're just going to have to deal with it. It's not too dissimilar from the previous Nendoroid figures from Twisted Wonderland that we've covered. For example, Azul and Leona, they had little frustrating bits as well. It is tiny, so if you've got big hands or big fingers like I do, you kind of just have to suck it up and just work with it, so to speak. But going through the way this figure looks, gorgeous looking figure. I have to say, this character design, which I'm going to put the original design and illustration on from the Black Butler creators, is gorgeous. This Nendoroid interpretation of it is equally as gorgeous. This figure, this character of Kalim Al-Asim, looks amazing. I think it's so awesome. Lots of detail packed into this particular character design, and therefore into this Nendoroid as well. Just a gorgeous looking character overall. Again, I don't know too much about Disney's Twisted Wonderland. I had a quick read about this character. So he's a little bit happy-go-lucky and fairly young. He relies on Jamil, who is one of his advisors or something like that. But otherwise, a lot of people tend to like this guy. But that's pretty much what I remember at the moment from this guy. Pretty positive stuff is what his bio pretty much had to say about. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier on, the eyes on this particular guy, just absolutely stunning. So gorgeous. Look at those fiery eyes. Because he's got both eyes open here, you just get double the gorgeousness, right? Whereas the other one is just open, and the third face, both are closed. So really amazing looking eyes that this expression has on there. So he doesn't have the grin on this face. He just has an open smile with the teeth showing ever so slightly. Very cute, very adorable. But yeah, like I said, just amazing, gorgeous looking eyes. The detail on this, guys,
in general is amazing. So you can kind of see straight away with the head wrap that kind of doubles up as a scarf as well. So you've got the head wrap here with all the gold detailings here. I would say kind of handle this figure with a little bit of care because you don't know what's going to fall off. I've mentioned a couple bits that might fall off. These haven't at the moment, but I have a feeling they could do potentially if you handle it roughly. So just be careful with that. But you know, in terms of detail, this guy looks stunning, honestly speaking, and that kind of detail carries on throughout. You can see the kind of wraps and folds that they've kind of detailed here as well, which just look really great. This little scarf bit here is on a ball joint or ball peg that feeds into this kind of ribbon bit here as well. This ribbon bit is sculpted very nicely. Again, just be careful handling it because I don't know how this is stuck on. It's probably just on a little peg, so it should be okay. Should it come off, just reattach it. You may need to glue it back or something, but you know, don't quote me on that. But it looks great, really nicely done as well. Really generally clean paints. There's a little bit of paint bleed here and there, but generally speaking, the detail is very nice on, you know, the face and the top. His scarf wraps around down here. It's because it's on that ball peg, it can move a little bit. As I mentioned, this feather bit here does come off sometimes. That's actually attached like so. I'm going to take this off right here, like so. I'm going to leave that to the side just because I know it does come off on mine quite a bit. And as I mentioned, the scarf bit does kind of come off and you can have it swaying back if you want to. And we've only covered the head wrap at that point. We haven't even talked about his hair, which by the way, looks great as well. I did drop mine by accident, so I've got a little scuff right here, as you can see. And I'm just going to mention it right now. When it comes to changing his face, be very careful because he's got spikes everywhere. And these spikes here on the top of his face here, the bangs, try not to handle it too much there because again, you could accidentally damage this bit here and then this bit here as well you could potentially damage. So just be very careful. I went super slow with this figure to try and get this the hair pieces off, and then I accidentally dropped it, and that's why I've got a little bit of a paint scuff on this particular spike here. So just be very careful with it. It was a bit tricky for me to change the faces on this, and that's why that happened, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the rest of his body then. So you can see his right arm doesn't come with the white markings. That's exclusive to the left arm for this character, but it does come adorned with some gold kind of snake pattern bangle around the bicep. I'm assuming it's a snake just because that looks like a snake head there. And then he comes with the bangles at the wrist, as we saw earlier on other limbs. And I'm going to lift the arm up a bit so you can get a little bit clear look at the coat as well, and the kind of belt that's kind of going around his shoulder and then around under his other arm there. This is blatantly inspired by the off-white, yellow and black belt as well, but instead of off-white, it's got the dorm that he manages or leads, so Scarabia or Scarabia. I kind of have a feeling it might be Scarabia to be linked with scarabs and Arabia, but I could be wrong. I prefer to just pronounce it as Scarabia, but I could be wrong there as well. And then he's just got a white shirt underneath, layered white and red shirt there, burgundy. Something fell off, that's his earring there, as I mentioned, so put that to the side. But towards the back of the coat, really cool detail carrying on there with a nice pattern on the back down here, like so. It doesn't ring any bells of what this pattern could be at this moment, but cool, nice golden pattern there. Anyway, it's a little bit different gold shade on this pattern compared to the bottom or trim of the coat itself, but really nice details again with this particular character. We go to the left arm then, and that's where I'm going to move the scarf a little bit more. We'll move that to the side. As I said, that's how you can move it. You got the white markings down the left arm that we saw earlier on the other arms as well. Same with the bangles there, the scale kind of bangle treatment there with the ring on this hand as well, so relaxed hand there. Finishing off down to his waist and feet, so you got a pattern here. I think that's the pattern for the Scarabia Dorm. I could be wrong there, but it's just kind of like a not symmetrical pattern, asymmetrical pattern there. So you got the red there with the yellow pattern, and then the flame pants being shown both sides too. Finishing off with the sandals with the gold trims that we saw just earlier on. So that's all pretty good. So really nice looking character, lots of detail packed into this character, and I may have missed one or two bits as well, but really amazing looking character, amazing looking Nendoroid. So great. I actually did miss something. So you got the gold kind of necklace that he's got wearing there as well, so if you're not gonna move the scarf, you probably won't see that. So yeah, really a lot of detail with this character, and really well captured as well. When it comes to articulation, it's pretty much the same as the other Nendoroids or the limited Nendoroids. So I mentioned the scarf bit or this sash bit for the head wrap does come on a ball peg there, and I kind of just showed you how that works. I'm going to plug that back in, see if that works. Oh, sorry, wrong place to plug it in. There we go, plug that in there. So you can have it swaying if you want to, or you can just kind of wrap it back around so it goes over his shoulder if you want to. It's up to you either way. His earrings are coming off, sadly, so I'm just going to leave those to the side. This feather bit, as I mentioned, needs to plug into there, but otherwise articulation moves his head. Restricted movement if you've got the scarf wrapped around him, of course. Then the arms just kind of go up and down. Depends what arm that you've got attached to him. Some of these are going to be a bit more restricted. Because he's got the straight arms, they're a little bit more free range, but not too much, to be quite honest. So up and down. He's got twist here very, very, very slightly, and the legs do move up and down. Again, very, very slightly. They twist as well. Once you swap out with the other leg, you can't really do much with that one. That's a fixed leg. So very limited range of motion with this guy. And as soon as you get him on like one leg or something, you are going to want to use the base stand, as I said, because he doesn't balance very, very well. Let's try and swap some parts then, and it's going to be a little bit fiddly. Now let's start with swapping his face. Now, as I mentioned, it is a bit tricky. My one definitely was a bit tricky, and I accidentally damaged it a little bit, really minor, right here, just in case you missed it earlier on. So when you do remove the face, it's going to be the same as every other Nendoroid, but because this guy has so many different details applied to him, you don't want to accidentally damage anything. So I would normally have my fingers here, but because this guy's got spikes here, I don't want to damage these, flatten these, or whatever to them. So go slow with this. I tend to grip it like so, and I still grip it there a bit, and then kind of pry it out. If yours is very stiff out of the box, I would recommend maybe getting a credit card or something a little bit thinner than a credit card, and then just kind of push that into the crack here, and then kind of pry it out bit by bit, slowly, and just kind of work at it. Mine was definitely very tricky to get off, and then it kind of it kind of slipped out of my hands, and that's why I got this tiny scarf. It's irritating to me, but I'll probably forget about it in the long run as well. So just try it again. Be careful not to kind of grip too hard on these little bits that kind of dangle here on his head wrap, because I don't know if that's going to cause permanent damage or not, and it's not worth the risk. But once you do get it off, this is what it's going to look like so. And as I mentioned, you probably are going to get bits flying off as well. So I've taken the liberty and taken these off already, plus the earrings. We're going to take this face off now, like so. And then we'll just grab, say, the one eye close, because I still want to see the beautiful, beautiful eye. So, by the way, I don't mention this normally, but the Disney trademark is usually located inside the hair. Now you can see Disney, made in China, right there. They're not on the base necessarily anymore. It doesn't always mean they're going to be in the hair. But for this particular Nendoroid's case, it's inside the hair as well. So check that to make sure that you've got, one of the ways to check you've got a legitimate product. Put the faceplate back on, and then put this back on. So the earrings are already attached to this face already, but they may come off. So I'm just going to leave it. If they do come off, they come off. Then I'm going to actually wrap the scarf back around here like so. I'm going to take this arm off actually. Let's just take both arms off. How you want to take the arms or change the arms is up to you. Sometimes this scarf bit can get in the way and make it a little bit frustrating. That's certainly true for me. So yeah, just try whichever way you want. I'm going to actually swap the left arm with the one where he's holding the gold coins, because that's quite cool. Why not? So yeah, if you do have the scarf on, sometimes that can get in the way, especially if you've got bigger fingers like me. And then with the right arm, I'm going to actually just give him the staff arm, which is going to be a little bit more angled outward, as you can see there. Wrap the scarf back around. Now as you do this, bits might come off again, or they might not. Hopefully they don't for you, because like I said, it can be a bit frustrating as bits do fly everywhere, and they are small. You know, Nendoroid parts are quite fiddly and small, so try not to lose anything. I certainly have almost lost stuff. This bit, feather bit here, I'm going to plug it back in just to kind of complete the look a bit. Now, when you do this, just be careful with this, because you don't want to snap the gem piece here off the feathers. So once it's in, just kind of let it be. Try not to force any further, then it might go. So it's okay for now. It definitely does come off easy for me. For you, hopefully it should be okay, but I have a feeling it's probably not going to be. That's the hand that is going to equip the staff. As I said earlier on, it's not the most strongest of grips, but we'll just try and get it to work for our cause anyway, so that it's actually attached like so. You can position this how you want. I'm just going to do it very basically here, so it's kind of going underneath his off-white sash. So there we go. We've got to swap some parts. Very cute looking and adorable Nendoroid there. You can play around with the other parts as well. I'm going to show you the left leg as well, just why not, because we're here already. You just got to pull that out off the socket at the ball joint. Hopefully it should come out like that. If it comes out at the bottom end, that's going to be unfortunate. Just play around with that, and hopefully it'll be okay. Grab this leg, and then you just got to feed that back into the socket, and that was it. Oh, actually that happened a lot easier for me right now than it has done before. So that's the bend there. As you saw, the feather bit just kind of came off. That's okay. and then he's got the bent leg there. There's probably a particular reason that he does this. Maybe it's a pose within the game itself. It's okay. I don't particularly like this pose that much, but it's not exactly a terrible pose either. But that's how you would swap that leg. The rest is pretty much going to be pretty straightforward and pretty much the same as what we've just covered. As I mentioned though, these small bits that do come off, or the dangly bits here, just be very careful as you handle this figure. To be honest with you, though this figure has a lot of fiddly bits with it, just like, you know, the other Nendoroid Twisted Wonderland stuff, it's a gorgeous looking figure. I think fundamentally this character has a gorgeous looking design, and this Nendoroid captures a lot of it really, really well. There are some bits that are simplified, but that's kind of par for the course for Nendoroid to simplify some bits. But most of the stuff is there. The detail in this Nendoroid is impressive. There's a lot going on with this figure, and I love it for that reason. I especially love the eyes again. Gorgeous, stunning looking eyes. But if you like Twisted Wonderland, yeah, totally try and get this Nendoroid if you can. I'm going to try and check out the future Nendoroids of Twisted Wonderland coming out as well. So Veil should be the next one. So stay tuned for that one. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed having a look at Kalim Al-Asim Nendoroid with me, and I'll see you in the next one.